Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu, mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services. Discover how to reinvent yourself in today's session with Craig Siegel. He's a Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling author of The Reinvention Formula. And he's a global keynote speaker, coach, and advisor, TEDx speaker, and host of the CLS Experience podcast. He's endorsed by luminaries like Jim Kwik and Ed Mylett. Craig, a 7-time marathoner, left his Wall Street job during the pandemic to pursue his true purpose. His mastery, energy, and inspirational impact have made CLS one of the most engaging communities globally. Craig focuses on removing limiting beliefs, fostering positive mindsets in both business and personal realms, and encouraging a wholehearted commitment to one's true purpose. He combines the spiritual with the practical. He believes the riskiest things we can do is to play it safe. My first question is, what is the secret to your success?
One that comes to mind is consistency. I think that's a superpower that's accessible to everybody, but often overlooked. If you're just willing to be super consistent day in and day out, that begins to compound and it's quantitative value. So I think being super consistent has been a great recipe for success.
Thank you. And how can entrepreneurs reinvent themselves?
Well, I think anybody can reinvent themselves, specifically entrepreneurs, if you're willing to do the inner work and you're willing to connect to your mission. I think that our soul, I don't know how deep you want to get today, but I think this is the good stuff. Our soul has two parts to its purpose. One is to achieve self-transformation, correcting and transforming our negative tendencies, becoming the best version of us. The other part is where it gets interesting, and I think it relates to reinvention. And that is to actualize our own unique gifts and share them with the world and make an impact, contribute, and reveal light. And so, spoiler alert, everybody has unique gifts, but they're not ours. They were given to us. We're the manager of them. And it's on us to connect to what our gifts are and share those with the world. So for anybody that's out there right now, and we just did a whole TED Talk on this, as it turns out, only 20% of Americans are finding purpose in the work that they do. That means there's a lot of people that are unhappy right now or not connected to their career. And so if that's you, reinventing yourself is not starting over. It's about finishing and executing what you've been dying to do. It's the journey back to yourself. It's showing up to the world as the real, raw, authentic person that you are. And when we're able to identify and connect to our mission, our unique gifts, and share those, that's where reinvention really gets fun. And also, I want to say this. I don't want anybody to think that they have to settle. If you're waking up every day and you're not super excited about life, in other words, your career that you love, you're making money, authentic relationships, fulfillment, then I encourage you to reinvent yourself to get to a place where that's what you're achieving. And again, it's not going to happen overnight. I know every day is 9 to 10, but we should all desire and yearn to have it all. Fulfillment, success, love, relationships, all that stuff. And so just to be clear, reinvention is not starting over. It's finishing and executing on what you've been dying to do.
Thank you. And what's your secret to becoming an awakened titan? And how did your own awakening lead onto this path of helping thousands of other people to reinvent themselves?
That's a good word, awakening. When I think of that, I think of my spirituality journey and specifically really going deep and elevating my consciousness or awareness or awakening, if you will. And look, I think that what's going on right here, right now, me, you, the Zoom, it's 1% of what's really happening. And 99% of what we can't necessarily see is the spiritual dimension. And for anyone that's listening right now and is like, oh, this sounds really woo-woo. What does it even mean to be spiritual? I would start with this. I would just say that means that you believe that there's something else going on beyond our logic. And once you can connect to that, whatever it is that you believe in, creator, God, source, quantum, universe, whatever, connect to something a little bit bigger and create that relationship, then you're awakening your consciousness and you really begin to cultivate an awareness. And when you go at the world with that consciousness, you do the right things. You share without an agenda. You help people without needing recognition. You're able to tap into your gifts. And so for anyone listening, the ultimate goal should be to awaken your consciousness and really tap into something a little bit bigger. For me, it's creator. For anyone listening today, whatever that is for you, create that relationship and awaken your soul to the infinite possibilities.
Thank you. Tell us about your journey of how you became a Titan and started helping thousands of people to reinvent themselves.
I was on Wall Street for 13 years and I was having success and making money, but ultimately I was really out of alignment. And I started to get very unfulfilled, depressed, arguably. And I found myself in a really dark place a few years back, right before the pandemic. And so even though I had my own business, I didn't exactly feel like I was contributing to the world. My soul felt like it was contracting as opposed to expanding. And so I was looking for an outlet to find myself, and I started running marathons. And that was pivotal for me because I'd never been a runner before. And I started to really test myself and expand what I was capable of. And then the pandemic happened. And I shut down my office for what I thought would be 2 weeks. And me, just like the rest of the world, had this moment to really just reassess. If not now, then when? And I always knew that I was here for something much more, just like I believe we all are. And I utilized that time to really connect and really started getting downloads and intervention. And it occurred to me in that moment that I had been obsessed with personal development for 15 years. I love it. NLP, law of attraction, all this stuff. I just didn't think I was worthy of turning that into a career. And then I put together a strategy and I started putting out content and I built my 10-lane highway for my CLS brand and I leaned in. And for the first time in my life, I totally left my comfort zone and I was in alignment. And that's when opportunities began to present themselves. I started speaking all over the world. We have one of the top personal development on the planet. Just got engaged and get married next month. TED Talks, community coaching, all the things. Left Wall Street for good. And this is it for me in some capacity for the rest of my life. And we're just getting warmed up. And I believe my role here is to be that channel to help other people, hopefully your listeners, tap into their highest self and really use their gifts, share them with the world, make both an impact and unapologetically make a lot of money doing so.
Thank you. And how did this awakening influence your business strategy?
That consciousness helped me come up with the entire strategy to start putting out content, to build out the 10 lanes, to coach, to speak, to write our book, Wall Street Journal bestselling, the Reinvention formula, speak all over the world. We just spoke at the UN, all of it. And so that consciousness helped me see what was really important and tap into more opportunities and possibilities, as opposed to an unenlightened consciousness where I saw limitations and a ceiling. Once I was able to elevate that, the ego kind of didn't have air up there and I was able to really see clearly. So for anyone listening, tapping into a higher consciousness will help you see the correct choices.
Thank you. What impact do you feel wording has on your life in terms of reinvention? So imagine that you are surrounded by negative people who keep on saying, all sorts of negative stuff. How can you come out of negative situations and reinvent yourself despite being surrounded by negative people and negative situations?
First and foremost, I would encourage anybody, if they're constantly surrounded by negative people situations, to do the best that you can to minimize your interactions with negative people or situations, because I can relate to that. That was me for a while. And ultimately, that's going to rub off on you. And so if you really want to get to your next level in life of expansion, success, money, relationships, all that, you have to start being comfortable with saying the word no and setting boundaries and holding yourself to a higher standard. I believe our identity creates our habits. So if you're constantly being okay with being in negative atmospheres, that means that you don't have that high of a standard for yourself. Because if you did, you would minimize the time you spent in negativity. Now, just to be clear, life can be tough at times, right? It's mostly beautiful, but there are dark times and painful seasons. So it's not that there will never be negativity, but control what you can control. If you're in a situation that's negative, uninspiring, and unenlightening, it's time to reevaluate and potentially reinvent yourself, whether it's your circle of friends, the industry that you're in, what you do for a living, and put yourself in a more impactful and much more positive atmosphere as well.
Thank you. What about if you have almost no choice? Like, for example, your mother or your parents or your spouse, they are the negative ones. What do you do then?
It's time to have some tough conversations and just be vulnerable and open your heart. If you're speaking to a spouse or a family member and say, look, I love you, but when I spend a lot of time with you, I find myself leaving that interaction in a negative state. I'm not saying it's you, it's probably me, but I don't like that feeling. So I'm going to minimize some of our interactions. Or if it's your spouse and like you live in the same household, maybe you say, look, when you talk about this, it makes me feel like this. I don't love that feeling. Would you be open to taking a different approach? And if you can't talk and communicate effectively, then there's really no home. But if you can talk and communicate effectively and the people around you are still not adjusting, then you have some tough decisions to make, right? I mean, life is so short. So maybe it's time to reevaluate, because as you continue to grow, specifically your consciousness, oftentimes not everybody is growing at the same pace. And sometimes you can actually create a gap and grow apart. So I'm getting married in a month. I love love. I would rather never get divorced or even think about that. But if you're outgrowing somebody and you're just so out of alignment and you can't get back on the same page, then maybe it's time to take yourself out of that situation and reevaluate.
Thank you. What steps should entrepreneurs take in order to start reinventing themselves?
Get clarity on your gifts. What do you love? What is your purpose? What are your passions? What do you love doing? What would you like to wake up and do if you don't have to worry about money, right? What excites you? What makes you feel energetic? And then once we start to create a list and get clarity on those things, let's build a business around that, because there's always a way. Nobody can tell me differently. If you're super passionate about something, I don't care what it is, there's going to be opportunities to monetize it. But you can't hit a target that you can't see. So let's journal. Let's get some clarity on the things that really excite you.
Thank you. What about the top mistakes entrepreneurs make when trying to reinvent themselves?
Instant gratification. I think people, especially with social media these days, they think you just go viral, become famous, and make millions of dollars. And while it is possible to go viral and be a big hit, oftentimes if the right consciousness isn't behind that, you'll self-sabotage or it won't be sustainable. So you want to build a bigger vessel and keep expanding it, working on yourself, compounding, give yourself a timing and risk tolerance. I'm going to do this for 6 months. I'm not going to worry about the day-to-day. I'm just going to put my head down, marry the process, divorce the outcome, and let's reevaluate after 6 months. So anyone that wants to do something really meaningful with their life, specifically entrepreneurs, understand that it's going to take some time. Now, it could take you shorter time than other people for sure, but anything really worthwhile in your life is going to take some sacrifice.
Thank you. Do you find that exercise, mindset, or a particular strategy, do any of these have impact in your ability to reinvent yourself faster?
100%. The higher you are vibrating, the better ideas, the more energy, the more excited you are for life. And a good way to get in a high vibration is by working out, is by listening to a podcast, is by reading a book, getting yourself in a good state. Because when you're more excited, you're more likely to take action. So all the things that you just mentioned, I think are a prerequisite for being in a great vibration, which ultimately leads to you taking action.
Thank you. Are there any other things entrepreneurs can do in order to elevate their vibration so they can reinvent themselves and perhaps find better partners or attract more money, attract more abundance, attract better opportunities in their life?
Yeah, a couple of things. Number one, read the formula. Number two, listen to your show. And on top of that, let's get really, really honest with ourselves and think about the realities or personalities that we're holding that really don't honor or match the vision that we have for our life. Most of the times it's a narrative or a story or a belief that doesn't serve us, which is holding us back from getting to where we want to go. And once we can dismiss those or replace them, then we can open up the floodgates on what's possible. So oftentimes it's not always more. Sometimes it's about removing things that are holding us back.
Thank you. How do entrepreneurs become unstuck from situations where they feel like they've been stuck in for years?
First of all, if it's not working, right? If the situation that you're in doesn't bring fulfillment, or it's not taking you to your next level, or it's not expanding you, then let's identify what it is that we're doing, right? Because sometimes we have to break the patterns. What got us here, for those that can't see, I'm making a hand gesture, is not what's going to get you to the next level, right? So let's figure out what's serving us and what's not. And let's simply remove the things that are holding us back and triple down on the things that are serving us. Things like having a mentor, having a coach, reading, journaling, connecting or praying, meditating, whatever your things are, putting yourself in the right situation to achieve success. And ultimately, it's our mindset that really holds us back, if I'm being honest. And so first thing in the morning, when you wake up, like, do you have a routine? Do you charge up? Are you putting yourself in the right state of mind? Or are you letting the negative thoughts wander? And so I think being extremely disciplined, specifically with the thoughts that you allow to take up real estate inside your mind. And I think that it's good to know that you can hear your thoughts, but you are not your thoughts. And you can be strategic in the ones that you allow, and then that will dictate your beliefs and ultimately your actions. So I think that success, entrepreneurship, reinvention, all this stuff is really an inside job.
Thank you. And how can entrepreneurs overcome procrastination? Because a lot of times they want to do great things, but their vision and their action doesn't match.
Yeah. So simply put, think about where you want to go. What is the vision right now? And is what you're doing bringing you closer or further away from X, Y, Z? So let's just say you want to make $2 million, or you want to speak on stages, or you want to write a best-selling book, or you want to start a company and sell it. Whatever it is that your vision is, are your daily habits and behaviors bringing you closer to that vision or not? And oftentimes, if you're procrastinating, it's because you're not really energetically connected to doing what you need to do. If you're really excited about what you have to do, there's a good chance you're not going to procrastinate. If there's a lot of fear and self-doubt, unworthiness, or insecurity, then you'll probably look to procrastinate. So I think procrastination is actually really good feedback, because once we realize that we're procrastinating on something, let's figure out why. And let's get reconnected to the things that actually move the needle and make us feel fulfilled.
Thank you. What could be the causes of procrastination, do you feel?
Being unfulfilled, fear, self-doubt, the things that we just mentioned, right? So if you're procrastinating, you're probably not super excited about what you're doing, because if you were super excited about it, why would you procrastinate? So I think it's about reconnecting to your mission, to source, to fulfillment, to your soul's purpose, to your gifts, and so forth. Connect to that, and you'll be so excited. You'll never be tired. You'll do this stuff all day. You'll love it. Trust me, I speak from contrast, because I spent a long time being out of alignment, and it's tougher to get up in the morning. It's tougher to get excited. But then when you connect to something that you love, your purpose, your passions, I mean, you could do this stuff all day. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Thank you. And how do you overcome disappointments and depression to start reinventing yourself?
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know exactly how to say get over depression, but I know this. When you have a big goal, or you have purpose in your life, or you're really excited about something, you don't really have time to be depressed or negative, because you're super excited about the vision, the goal, the dreams, the pursuit. So find things that scare you, but also excite you, and keep those in your life. It's one of the reasons why I still run all these marathons. I'm signed up to run the New York City Marathon this November. It'll be my 8th, God willing. It's just things like that that keep me very driven, goal-oriented, that I like to incorporate into my life in addition to business, my relationship, and so forth. So find things that excite you.
Thank you. And what's your message to entrepreneurs worldwide?
Playing small is canceled. You're here for a very, very big reason. Very big reason. Let's connect to the gifts that were given to you. Let's share those with the world. Let's figure out how to unapologetically monetize those, make a massive impact, unapologetically make a lot of money. And let's not wait. The time is now. We're all here for a very, very big reason. Like I said, playing small is canceled.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs awaken to their titanic power?
Get quiet, listen, be a channel for the downloads, connect to source, get clarity on what your gifts are. And once those start coming through, the answers, the journey, the path will begin to reveal itself.
Thank you. That was such an insightful session. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.